So we're looking at 1990 FreeFall. He is a paratrooper. And when I look at him, I immediately think of Ripcord from 1984. So to me, this is kind of the redo of Ripcord. And that's just what I think of when I think of FreeFall. He's kind of in subdued colors, somewhat like Ripcord. Not what we might imagine from a 1990 toy, but I kind of like this guy. Let's take a look at his file card first. This is a pretty good version of his file card. Most of it's still intact on the front, so I'll give you an idea of what that looked like. It's pretty cool. It has the old Walmart tag on there. So this guy was $283 back in 1990. And you get a look at the back of the card. And I used to love these. So I didn't get a whole lot of figures, but I used to love looking at the back of the card. So you can see a lot of the figures that were available in 1990. And then we can look at FreeFall's file card. So he was a paratrooper. His military specialty was infantry, born in Illinois. And I will let you all read that, but this is a pretty clean version of the file card. Let's take a look at FreeFall and his accessories. So for 1990, he actually didn't come with a lot of accessories. He only came with, well, I guess if you technically count each part, there's 5. So he came with a backpack. We'll look at that first. Fairly decent sculpt. And for the year, for 1990, it's not huge like some of the backpacks were. So it works out pretty well with this figure. And then these would have been 3 parts, but for this, I'm going to leave them all attached. So you have the helmet, kind of like the nose piece there, and the hose, which the hose, of course, is not, that'll come attached from that. And then the hose, when he's on the figure, would actually peg or tab onto that guy right there. So I didn't do that for display because I found it stretches it a bit, but that would kind of peg onto that piece right there on the back of him when it was on. And then the firearm, he had a gun. And I'm not going to attempt to make any assumption or observation on what this gun might be. It's just a neat looking gun to me. It looks like it has 2 magazines almost. I'm not sure. Maybe that's the way it was designed. Let me set that down and give you a better view. And then a pretty cool little stock on the end. So those are the accessories that came with good old FreeFall. Now let's take a deeper look at FreeFall himself. So he has very bright, blondish, yellow hair, really, not even blonde. And it seems to kind of match the color of his shirt, or very close to the color, maybe a little different, but strikingly yellow hair. His hair is probably the least realistic thing on him, where his uniform is a little bit more realistic considering the common theme of the 90s toys, where things have started getting very bright and colorful. He is not so much here, which is a good thing for you Joe enthusiasts. Gray boots, almost all the way up to his knee, all the way around. Then he has camo pants. Not much more detail on his pants. There is some nice, a little bit of detail there, but not much. Maybe right there on the side where that might be a magazine. And then as a paratrooper, he has his paratrooper outfit on. Again, very nice color, I think, for this year, or for any figure. And take a quick look at the back. Again, very simple design, which I think 90, there was a few figures that had this still kind of the simple design, but some of the figures had gimmicks. FreeFall did not really have many gimmicks or any kind of over-the-top designing. Again, very extremely yellow hair. All right, so what do we give FreeFall as far as a rating? So if I was going to rate him from 1 to 10, I'm going to look at this two different ways. Once we start and get into the 90s, I think you got to kind of rate things kind of equivalent to what you would expect from a 90s toy. So just looking at him from the 90s perspective, I'm saying he's a strong 8. The only thing that I probably dislike about him, or if I was going to pick at anything, is the color of his hair. And really, for display, I've always have his helmet on, so I don't really notice his hair. So I would say he's a strong 8 for the year. Now, if I'm going to rate him overall, you know, his overall is okay, right? Maybe his backpack is a little bit too big. I don't even necessarily like where that hose pegs into the backpack. It just doesn't quite make a lot of sense. You know, the rifle is pretty cool in itself, but is it great? No, they probably didn't try too hard with that. I think overall the figure is probably the most redeeming part of the whole setup here, considering all the accessories. So I would probably rate him a 6 overall in comparison to all the other Joes. However, for 1990, you know, I don't know if I necessarily have a favorite from 1990, but if I was to consider a favorite, he'd probably be at the top, one of the top 3. Give you a couple more views of Mr. FreeFall here. So let me know what you think. What do you think about FreeFall? How would you rate FreeFall? One final thing I'll share to leave y'all with is, where do I display FreeFall? Well, with the few 1990 figures that I have, I display them on the General. And there is where FreeFall stands. Thanks again, guys.